Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Relentless Trading Lounge, episode 24.
I hope that's right. I think it is.
I think it is 20. I vaguely remember last week being 23.
Yeah.
But when you see, like, some may say not as famous podcasters as ourselves, like Joe Rogan, like it's in the hundreds,
Yeah.
if not thousands.
Yes.
It's like been going for a very, very long time. But hey, everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And here we are on another one. This time, for the second time, cameras on.
Yeah. Made an effort today. Well, say that. Not really.
Did you?
Not
you,
really.
you you're wearing a cap, so I'm guessing you've not washed your hair.
No, I have washed it, but I'm growing my fringe out, so it just looks dreadful. So.
Because you want the same haircut as me.
Mm-hmm. I hadn't thought of that actually. I could do that if you want.
Do that. Honestly, I do feel the pain of growing your fringe out because it was mine. There are pictures. I had like
Please send them.
I had a horrific haircut before this amazing one.
Nice.
Came along.
Get dreadlocks like our other business partner.
Do you know what? I think I'd look pretty good with dreads, but Lou would definitely divorce
It's a no from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can see it on the divorce papers. Grounds for divorce, just like a picture. Just dreadlocks.
Amazing. Sorry, I'm just turning my heating down because I'm absolutely melting.
Although it is cold. What are we in? End of May?
It was freezing, yeah. I was like, I just need a little warming up.
Let's not go there. And we'd switch from winter duvet to summer duvet as well. Went too soon. Went too soon. We digress.
Andy, what is today's podcast all about?
Today's podcast is all about, and I'm going to give an intro into the intro to this, but I will get to the point eventually. But I do feel that a lot of the stuff we're going to be talk about today should be talked about at a much earlier age.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as we all know, happy days, there's going to be a general election. We've got, in the UK, we've got 6 weeks of nonsense of basically two parties saying, you're rubbish, so vote for us. And they're the other one saying, no, you're rubbish, vote for us. But putting that aside, I just think the whole country is very disenfranchised at the moment with a lot of things. And I think this stems back when I was a boy, when everything was black and white, and we used to...
Sounded like a Beyonce song.
I should have written songs for Beyonce. I'd have been good. I just think you get lied to. I think everyone's been lied to at a very, very early age. And a lot of people, luckily, a lot of people now are waking up to that at a much earlier age than I did. But back in the day when you're at school, you got told to work hard, follow this curriculum, get your GCSEs, get your A-levels, go to university, get a good job. You'll then get paid really well. You'll move up the corporate chain, and then you'll be able to retire and have a great time, live off your pension. And all of it was a lie. All of it was nonsense. None of it was true. And now, various different people are having to have 1, 2, 3 different jobs just to stay afloat, cost of living crisis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the crux of a lot of this rant over is tax.
Yeah.
And not just, when you get your PAYE payslip and your taxes there, but the amount of tax, and we've noticed it a lot more recently when we go, there's corporation tax, there's this tax, there's that tax. Yeah. And just had a quick, look, tax was invented I do see it as theft. I really do, on a number of different levels. But it was like, there's a guy called William Pitt, God rest his soul, who seemed to introduce income tax back at the tail end of the 18th century. And it was to do with paying for wars. And it was only meant to be a temporary thing.
Right.
As a lot of these things, it's all right, we'll go back to not doing that in a bit. Oh, yeah, here we are. And it's just, it does appear to be on everything. And it's not taught.
Yeah.
On any level. And we just seem to get it from, how many different taxes are there?
A lot, yeah. I don't, and, just to touch on what you just said, I don't necessarily think it's a lie. I just think like, as you said, times changed, and
Yes, they have.
and systems didn't, and processes didn't, and that's how we are where we are. To the point where they just started to introduce tax on everything, and that it does. With the I think my biggest frustration is with inheritance tax, to be honest, because I just think, like, our parents and our grandparents or whatever bought these houses and spent their lives, working lives, paying them off so that they didn't have a mortgage when they were retired if they were lucky enough. And then so they worked to be taxed on that income. So then with
Yes.
with their already taxed income,
Already taxable income.
already taxed. So after tax income, they then used to buy a property, which they must have paid for 4 or 5 times over because of the interest as well. Yeah,
Yeah, never look about how much you pay
yeah.
in interest on a mortgage.
And then
On a mortgage.
when that unfortunate day comes that they do pass and the family inherits, whatever it is these days with the thresholds, like the fact that you're taxed on them things because you've inherited them, I think is absolutely disgusting. It's one of the taxes I really, really hate. And it's like we said, there's nothing we can do about it, and that's the sad thing. Um, but yeah,
It's around. I mean, again, don't quote me on this, and that none of this is tax advice. Usual disclaimer on the
yeah, yeah.
website, etc. But I think it's around 300,000, and then it gets taxed at something daft, like 30 or
It's four.
40.
I'm sure it's 40%. I
Is it
could I could
40?
be wrong, but yeah, I've not checked it recently, but I'm sure it's around that.
And
Yeah.
what really, really annoys me about inheritance tax is the royal family. I mean, we won't get into various issues, Prince Andrew, etc., etc. They're exempt from it. And
Okay.
when this was brought up as I see, quite a valid question, why they're exempt from it, they said, well, if you think about it, if they've got whatever, half a billion, a billion, over time, then all their money would disappear. Oh, right. But it's fine for mine to but not. It just seems a bit. Oh, and you just have to accept that
Yeah. I think
that's the
I
system.
think the argument there is that they bring in more income than, so that's the argument there in terms
There
of
is that argument.
to,
Apparently, they do bring in a lot of money,
in terms
not to
of
me, but in
tourism.
terms of the
Yeah,
tourist industry and people
yeah,
coming to the UK. And
the economy. So yeah, but
you could argue that there are other people out there creating jobs,
mhm,
bringing people to the UK, bringing in money via corporation tax, VAT, all that sort
yeah,
of stuff, who also have those same
yeah,
benefits but don't have those same breaks.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Creating jobs, all that kind of stuff. Which brings us on to, so like, the different types of tax we've got. Obviously, income tax is probably the most common that people will be aware of. So, for those listening outside of the UK, maybe we work, get paid our salary, and then the tax automatically comes off it at different thresholds. And then we also
for our convenience.
yes, so that we don't have to bother paying it ourselves. They do that for us. But then we have national insurance, don't we, that comes off as well. And do you want to touch on what national insurance is?
I knew you were going to ask me that because I don't know what it is. And one of the I don't know if it was Jeremy Hunt or Rishi Sunak said that they were going to abolish national insurance if they
Mm,
got into power as and when
yeah,
they were able to do so. But I never fully understood why you have income tax and national insurance because it's the as far as we're concerned, as the end user,
it's
here's your
tax.
money. We're gonna take some of this. We're gonna take some of
It's
this.
just
Uh,
I think it's just a way of differentiating somewhere where your money's going to, which pot it's going into. So predominantly the national insurance contributions are to
is
do,
it
it's
pension?
pensions and NHS, I think, as well, and certain other
Okay.
benefits. I could be wrong with the NHS thing, but yeah, it's certainly the pensions, because if you don't have, some self-employed people actually find themselves in a position when they come to retirement age, they haven't been paying their national insurance contributions.
If
So
you're short on it,
yeah, so you have
yes.
to make up the shortfall. If you're not working but you're claiming a certain benefit that normally you get like a national insurance credit, so you're not liable to pay that. But yeah, for anybody self-employed, you might want to just check that out to make sure that you've been clicking those contributions, because you might get to state pension age and not actually qualify to get your state pension because you've not paid into it. I think it's something like 40 years national insurance contributions you have to
I
qualify.
believe you, again, not advice, you can top it up.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can
You
pay.
can contact the pension people, national insurance people,
Mm,
and request to find out what you think your predicted pension is going to be at a certain time,
yeah,
and they'll let you know if you're above or
yeah,
behind on your contributions. But
yeah,
again, that's another thing. And there were, I mean, we won't go into Windrush, contaminated blood, post office, various different scandals. There was another scandal the other day, and I can't remember which generation it is, which letter it is, but it was mainly women who thought they were going to get retired at a certain age, and then the goalposts were moved.
yeah,
Very strange of government to do that. And so they then had to carry on working and lost out on a huge amount of money, which I think now the High Court have said that's unlawful. So there'll be some more compensation. And don't get me wrong, they should be compensation for that.
yeah,
Likewise, they should be for the blood scandal and the
yeah,
post office, etc., etc. I'm more than happy for at least that to be paid on that. But the moving of the goalposts, like when do you think retirement age
yeah.
will be?
It's sad, isn't it? It is sad, and this comes back to what we touched on in another podcast as well about the interest, the way that they calculate RPI, and they've changed those goalposts as
Yes.
well. So again, I think that was Ford, M&S, and another big UK one that brought the lawsuit and lost at the High Court. It was deemed in the government's favour that what the changes that they made, but it meant that the end users were billions out of pocket overall between them. So yeah, there's always that. I think that's the worry for me, certainly in my age bracket, and
Oh, the younger
the
generation.
younger generation. Not necessarily yours. I think you're okay.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you'll be okay. But yeah, I think that's definitely one of the biggest concerns, especially like I've got younger brothers as well, and I do worry like how, I mean,
Hey, I've got children.
yeah,
I've got teenage
they're
children.
not. They're never leaving, are they? This is just. That,
Well, they're not going to buy a house, and this is another strange one. With when you buy a house, there's that stamp duty tax.
yeah,
And I remember when we bought this house, I was like, "Ah, what?"
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I've only ever bought one house, and it's this
yeah, yeah.
one. Great. And and Lou was like, "Yeah, you got to pay stamp duty." I was like, "Ah,"
What
because
and
I
what?
do
What is
question
it?
everything
What is it?
to my detriment, as people will often tell me, "Just get on with it, don't question stuff."
Yeah,
And I was like, "You pay? Why would you pay? What do you get?
yeah,
You don't even get a piece of paper.
yeah,
You never get a piece of paper saying this has cost you
yeah,
£27,000. Oh, right, it's just stamp duty. You get charged.
yeah.
Where does that money
What
go?
for? Yeah, for
Like,
what?
at least national insurance pays for people's pensions, and your income tax might pay for
Yeah,
the renewal of nuclear weapons. But where does the stamp duty go?
I don't.
Doesn't go
I
on.
don't know actually. I've never looked into where they all go and what they're for. But yeah, there's a lot. When you think, and when we have council tax, we have TV license. Like it's just, yeah. So anybody outside the UK must be listening, thinking, "What?" like, so,
I'm staying in Dubai.
yeah, we get paid. We have our income taken off. We have the income tax. We have then the NIs taken off. Any pension contributions we want to make outside of that, we take off as well. So then we're left with this net. Okay, well,
Yes.
what we're going to do there? Okay, well, we're going to pay our council tax now. We have to do that ourselves. Luckily, they don't take that automatically before we get our money.
You say luckily.
Luckily, yeah. It's just so we can see it for that slight second in our bank. Oh, look what you've got.
And that's broken down as well. You now pay for the mayor, you pay for the police and crime commissioner,
Yeah,
and generally it's just your bins, isn't it?
yeah. If you're lucky, mine's
If
once every 3 weeks. Mine
is
3 week
it?
cycle. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's really boring to talk about our bins emptying, but yeah, like
Well,
then we have that, like I said, TV license comes off, and then as a business, like I didn't realize, to be honest, not only how hard it is to run a business, but how Difficult it is because we're at a point where we're potentially going to start pushing through some barriers. Which for a UK business we have to pay corporation tax, which is around, is it
No,
nineteen
it's 19 or 20%, and then it does ramp up depending on what
threshold
threshold
you're
you're
in.
in. But yeah, so yeah, if you're helping people with a business, oh, we'll have 20% of that.
Hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
And where does that go?
So, but
And are you charging it Google and Amazon and Starbucks? Well, no, we're not. Oh,
but like you said, so we've got the corporation tax at that sort of the level, 20% ish, and then once you have your business has a revenue in 1 year of 90,000, you
just
then
revenue,
yeah, just revenue, not profit,
just revenue, just money taken,
just revenue,
just revenue.
like not profit. Then you have to start paying VAT, which is also around the 20% mark.
Value added tax.
So they so
It's all in the marketing. What does that mean?
So yeah, it's crazy. But then also, any profit that is left in the business that you might take as a dividend, you then go and get taxed on personally as well, and you're like, oh my god, what?
What is the point of
I just nearly
this?
died for £100. But yeah, it's I think we've talked about it privately, haven't we, between us? I think it is really hard for those small businesses, especially when they tip into that VAT sort of level, to then continue pushing past that. I think they're going to see a little bit of a struggle to get past that if they survive, and I think a lot of small businesses wouldn't necessarily survive through that.
Again, I've not got the stats, but I think most small businesses go under in either the first or second year.
Okay.
And we're pushing now into our fourth.
Yeah.
But it is. But even if you've got one of those proper jobs that you were promised at school, that if you worked hard, to go from, say you're on a good job,
Yeah.
say you're on a really good job, 50K a year. If you manage to climb that corporate pole and get to 75K a year,
Yeah.
it's still only an extra grand a month.
Yeah.
After all the taxes come in, you've gone into different brackets.
Yeah.
Imagine getting from 50 to 75 and you only get an extra grand a month.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And then you've got, well, car tax.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not just there's road tax. It's
Your road tax, and obviously insurance is mandatory as well.
and then that's another thing. If you buy insurance, there's insurance tax. Where's that come from? Like,
I don't know.
we booked. We're off to Turkey this year, first time.
Lovely.
Booked that.
I like Turkey.
We can talk about Turkey. We talk about holidays. And I've booked to
Might
go away
be
with us
might be
after his exams.
Might be
If
more
anyone's
more uplifting, Andy, if we do talk about holiday. Maybe we should do that.
possibly,
Maybe we'll do an
we should do that
uplifting.
next time.
We'll just talk
Have an
about
uplifting podcast.
Maldives. I'll tell you about my Maldives experience.
When I come back from Turkey and I'm taking Oscar to Marrakesh when he finishes his GCSEs.
Yeah.
Touch wood, we're nearly there. A couple of weeks to go. Shout out to all the parents going through exams at the moment. But yeah, so I got insurance, travel insurance. Then I had to pay, I can't remember if it was 10%.
Right.
IPT, insurance premium tax.
What is that?
What's that?
Don't know.
Like, what is that? Why do you just include it in the cost? Yeah.
But yeah,
it's
just sad that there's no way around it, is there? And most people in our group know as well. Like my partner's from Czech, and unfortunately, her father just passed away last month, and we started to look into inheritance tax over in Czech.
Okay.
And for comparison, it's 1%. So
1%
compared to ours that's tipping 40 somewhere. So that it opened my eyes a lot being there for I spent pretty much nearly a month out there. And just,
do I need to move to Czech?
We are moving. You can have beer in the park as well, Andy. So
really?
Yeah, that is okay. So yeah. Yeah, I do. It did open my eyes and go, oh, we're getting screwed over. I thought, oh well, just got to suck it up for now. But everybody. I think a lot of people need a job, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have multiple incomes, but I think that is becoming more and more of a necessity, isn't it, to get to that point where it's really sad. Like, yeah, if I didn't have trading and I I wouldn't. I think I would be working 3 jobs. Yeah,
This is it, and it has just changed over. Again, I'm old enough to remember, so that my dad worked,
yeah,
but my mum stayed at home with us three.
yeah,
And then as we grew up and moved on, she did get employment, but I think that was more for her than anything else. But she didn't have
yeah, yeah.
to.
Just
It
to
was just so that we could have some of the
escape
yeah,
from you. Yeah,
escape three lads, but also to give us
yeah,
some of the nicer things in life. Whereas now, it is a necessity for most households,
hmm,
if there's two people in it, for both people to work
yeah,
a minimum of one job,
yeah. Full time.
let full time, let alone side hustles alongside if you're selling whatever,
Yeah,
perfumes, aloe vera, getting involved in trading, doing car boot sales, cleaning,
yeah,
mentoring. And, we know at the moment we've got a couple of, we're in a fortunate position. We have a couple of tutors for Oscar. So these are teachers who work full time jobs
yeah,
and then of an evening,
yeah,
um, tutor to top
yeah,
up their own income.
yeah,
Um, and I think they're
yeah,
called multiple income individuals, but it's the gig economy effectively,
yeah.
um, and it's
It's just
people
sad.
are just getting by, they're just keeping their head above water,
Yeah.
and then you've got councils going bust,
Hmm.
water companies is a strange one. How can you end up, literally some of them are billions upon billions of pounds in debt,
Yeah.
pumping raw sewage into rivers and seas?
Yeah.
It's a monopoly, so I can only use my water supplier. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
I was going to say I have no
Whatever.
idea what mine is, but there's only one.
No,
There's-
there's only one.
yeah.
You can't choose.
Yeah.
And the planet is covered in 70% water.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't use anywhere else. How have you not managed to get that business right?
Yeah.
We're in a competitive
Yeah.
business where people can choose who they get their trading education from. They can choose
Yeah.
which they get their funding from in terms of a prop firm. We're global. Whereas
Yeah.
water, I have to pay it every month. How do you mess that
I
up?
don't know, and I haven't looked into it. Maybe I will. But
It'll only make you angry,
it'll be
angrier.
it'll be greed somewhere along the line. I'm sure if I would find. I bet.
Their chief execs get paid. There was a guy, I think the head of might be Severn Trent or it might be Thames Water. It might be Thames Water. Earned 13 million in the
Well,
past 4 years.
there you go. That's one
But
saving.
they're still about to go bust and they're still pumping sewage into the river.
So bad. But it's like you said, like with a business like that, you just need to get the infrastructure right and the maintenance
Yes.
right. It's not like that's pretty straightforward, I would think. But if
There
you
isn't a choice.
if you set the foundations right, because they've been there a long time, they've not been putting the money in the right places or having the right people there, have they?
But
But
you're effectively, yeah, you've got a business which is charging for effectively oxygen.
mhm.
There's nowhere else we can get it from. And I feel
Excuse me,
it's water. There's a lot of rain in Manchester. Like we're not short of it. Like
got some out
it's
there.
around.
Got some out there.
Yeah,
Absolutely
fun and
chucked it down
games.
this week. Anyway, we've had a really good rant about tech.
So
So
it's a good rant.
really
What's the
sorry.
conclusion? The conclusion is
It's
other
not a good
than
one.
not a good one. I mean, we'll see what happens at the next election. I
Yeah,
think, yeah,
there could be some good things that come out of that with changes, but
maybe there'll be a new party that comes along.
it's
Maybe there'll be different people who sort it out. Maybe there'll be a plan. But as much as you can bitch and moan about it, generally the main answer is to, unfortunately, if you're able to, make more money.
yeah,
It will give you more choices if you want to move to Dubai, if you want to move to Czech,
yeah,
if you wanted to get yourself,
yeah,
it is all relative. I can't do anything about the tax bracket,
yeah,
but if you wanted to get involved in prop trading, there's the salesy bit. You can
yeah,
get $10,000 to trade for $85 and keep 80% of the profits. At least that will then help
yeah.
with stuff. But unfortunately, I ain't got time with everything that's going on at the moment to start my own revolution.
Mm,
I
me
haven't.
neither.
Gonna have to leave that to someone else.
And it's raining a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's
I'm just, and that's the thing. Like, you just can come to that conclusion, don't you? It's like, well, I can't really do anything about it. So I just focus on the things that I can control and that are in my control, and I'm hopeful and sure that things will work out for me in a couple of years' time. But
You've got a plan.
yeah,
you know.
and it'll still. Can I swear? I'm not.
It's our podcast. We can do what the fuck we want.
My grandma's not watching, but
Oh.
it will still piss me off that I'm giving away probably 50% of my income at that point. But you've got to do what you've got to do, I suppose. But like you said, the only thing you can do is control what's in control what's in your control, and then
control the controllables.
And try to make more. That's my only goal personally.
It's control the controllables. And I think as much as we bitch and moan about stuff and point out things like this is wrong, we're doing something about it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who bitch and moan about stuff and don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So at least have a plan.
Yeah.
We all know how life ends, so have a plan to make the most of it in that short window that we've got.
True story.
Tis a true story, and enjoy the journey. A lot of people focus on the outcome, but it is the journey. It's who you're on the journey with. And I would just encourage people, and since I made the switch from corporate lifestyle to trading, it's getting around people for me who are excited, and that's what I love about Relentless. Everyone's excited about their future. Everyone's excited about what trading can give you. And it is very easy to go down the pub and surround yourself with negativity, with people bitching and moaning about tax. But if you can,
are you there?
Well, obviously, but I do tend to find that the more excitable people, the more optimistic people you spend your time with, then the better things are. So that would be my tip for the day.
Speaking of which, it's going to be Friday when you're watching this podcast. So happy birthday to our Sarah, who's a very positive person.
Yes, she is.
We hope she has a lovely time. And we thank her again for all the work she does for us.
And she is a legend. And this will be back to front on here, but I only met her like 4 years ago or so, and she sent me a gratitude rock in the post.
Well,
look at that, and we've both still got them. They're on my desk. So huge shout out to Sarah, known in our Discord as Wick Monster, because she is a legend.
Yep, she is. So let's leave that rant there.
Absolutely. End on a positive.
Always.
And
always.
We will...
it's bank holiday, so you get an extra day off.
It is bank holiday. Markets will be quieter.
Yes. No trading Monday.
No, I would advise against trading on Monday. 3-day weekend. Fingers crossed for the weather. Also the cup final.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed for Man United fans.
I'm really not bothered.
Well, I'm not bothered either. Might be okay. Villa, Champions League. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're Champions League as well?
Yeah, we are.
I will see you in the Champions League next season.
You will. Not many people can say that.
No, they can't.
Peter Crow.
He won't have listened this far.
No, he won't. Definitely not. We'll find out if he did. Peter, if you did watch this far, you have to tell us what we've just said.
You have to tell us what we just said. That
That'll be a good test.
Not in the Champions League.
He definitely won't listen to this.
No one tell him. If you're listening to it, don't tell Peter. Peter, we want to find out.
Yeah. If you listen.
Amazing.
Yeah, cool.
All right, let's chop it there and have a great weekend. Speak to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.